You didn't fail. You did stop smoking and then you relapsed. You did start the business and then you froze. You did show up consistently for 2 weeks solid. And then you went silent. The problem was never that you couldn't move. The problem was that every time you did, you just kept finding yourself back at zero. I've also been in that state of taking 10 steps forward and 10 steps back. It isn't an issue of willpower, it's pattern. When I looked into it, eventually, I found the 4-step loop behind it all. The throwaway answer everyone wants to give you about self-sabotage is that it's a personality flaw. You're just lazy. You haven't got it in you. You don't want the thing hard enough. This is utter bollocks. Self-sabotage comes from a dopamine-seeking system in an under-regulated body, combined with a nervous system that learned shame is the price that you pay for even trying. I'm going to show you the exact loop and how it's showing up in your life right now. Whether that's a business that you keep almost starting, a habit that you keep almost quitting, or a version of yourself that you almost keep becoming. Progress is green, setback is red. I would get this massive wave of momentum in my business. I'd put myself out there, I'd drop off some samples, and then I'd have 3 new potential customers lined up. And then I just wouldn't follow up for like 2 weeks. I'd just sit there and avoid my own emails because I was actually quietly nervous of what they would say. I knew it was silly. That's how I would go from green to red and then just back to zero. Or maybe for you, it looks like you map out a content plan, you get the details, script all ready, you get genuinely excited about it, and then you don't film it because you're just worried that it won't get any views or that people will disagree with what you have to say. Green, back to red, back to zero. You clearly do make progress, but this is about a pattern that keeps cancelling out the progress before it even has a chance to show any results. I call this the self-sabotage loop. So the first step is trigger, hitting your upper limit. The trigger comes in a moment where things are going well, but pressure spikes. A deadline, a stressful task like sending an email or cold calling, or fear of failure from that video that you need to record. The task usually matters a lot, but the demand of it is uncomfortable and causes inner friction. The second step in this loop is escape. Coping mechanism, just join the chat. This is the doom scrolling, the over-consuming how-to content to avoid doing the actual thing. Or a personal favorite of mine, spending 8 hours making a spreadsheet look beautiful to avoid actually filling it in. I see this part as running on autopilot because our very clever nervous system quietly takes over in response to the trigger, logical brain offline. The third step in this loop is relief. Hooray! Because it works. The escape genuinely makes you feel better. It's so easy to fall into these loops because it instantly switches off that inner friction. You're not weak or broken. Your nervous system was just dysregulated and it hit the emergency relief to soothe you. The problem is, you know that the relief doesn't last. Step 4 of this self-sabotage loop is shame. The relief wears off and you snap back to reality. Now you are forced to look at the version of you that failed and the version of you that could have been and that you know you can be.
Oh no! There's Melanie.
That's a shame. She was really nice.
The deal breaker here is that shame becomes the next trigger, and that's what makes this a loop. It fuels a brand new spike of inner friction, which enables the whole loop to continue. Escape, relief. You keep chasing the person that you want to be and that you know you can be. But because it's coming from a place of anxiety and shame, you're creating the perfect environment for your nervous system to need an escape and relief. This is why the escape feels automatic and why people don't really understand it. It is quite literally a subconscious biological reflex. It's not a conscious choice. So the next time you find yourself escaping from something on autopilot, Drop the guilt and recognize that you're not lazy. You are in a loop. Your body perceived a threat and your nervous system handled it. So where does this show up in building something? For high achievers and big dreamers and entrepreneurs like myself, success itself is often the trigger. You hit your nervous system's ceiling and the sabotage loop kicks in to bring you back down to a safe baseline. This is actually something that I want to dive into a lot more in my videos. There is a fantastic book, which I will insert on the screen, talks about the wealth thermostat. And it all relates to the same sort of thing that I'm talking about here. So definitely give that a read if you're interested. Expanding your capacity always comes with growing pains, which shows up as inner friction. I would land a big client, and instead of celebrating, I would just panic about delivering. For example, your content finally gets traction, and instead of leaning in, you freeze because you're worried that you'll say the wrong thing. The friction is normal, but whether that growth becomes a massive momentum for you or you quietly disappear back into your comfort zone all depends on what you do within the next 10 seconds. That leads me on to explain how do we break this loop. The way that you break a 4-step loop, and I'm going to help you break it in 4 steps. I know that sounds a bit confusing probably, but we love 4 today. 4 minus 4 is 0.
Quick maths.
Step 1, fix the room before you fix the mirror.
Boom.
So let's bring this outside of ourselves for a second. Before you look within yourself, look at your physical environment. If your phone is right next to your bed, you'll most likely go to doom scroll before you go to sleep. If that follow-up email isn't drafted and ready to be sent, you're probably not going to send it. If your gym kit isn't out ready, you're just giving your nervous system another reason to avoid it. If your lunch isn't prepped the night before, you'll probably wake up too tired to make anything and you'll end up spending money again. That's normal. Even having just a tidy room removes the visual clutter that secretly demotivates you before you've even got started.
Oh my gosh!
The self-sabotage loop lives and dies on friction. Remove the physical friction from your environment before you blame yourself for being too weak to be able to fight the inner friction. Step 2, name the competing commitment. So you want the goal, but a quiet part of you feels safer staying exactly where you are. You want to build your dream business, but if it actually works, that means that your entire income depends on you. You want to quit smoking, but that's your only socially acceptable reason to walk away for 5 minutes when you're feeling overwhelmed. You want to lose weight, but if you try your hardest and still fail, then that leaves you completely exposed. You want to be more confident, but you're afraid that the people who've always known you will knock you back down. You want firm boundaries, but you're afraid that people will leave you once you stop being so accommodating. Both sides can be true at once. Now, normally people will tell you to write your competing commitments down, but I've just given you all those examples just to kind of get you going because I don't think giving you homework is going to really be beneficial to you right now. It's probably just going to hand you another trigger on a silver platter. So don't write it down, but just finish this sentence in your head. I really want this, but it feels safer to stay exactly where I am because. Do it now. Do it while your coffee brews. Do it while you brush your teeth. Do it in the shower. Whenever you do it, just do it. It'll help. The fear isn't irrational. Like I said, they can both be true at once, but it is specific, so name it. That means that you can plan around it rather than letting it control you quietly. Step 3, do it without the feeling first. So your brain sells you another lie that you need to feel motivated, regulated, happy, inspired before you act. You don't. You don't. I'm filming this video and I wasn't in the best mood before I hit record, but that was exactly my reason to hit record. And I already feel better. The key here is action. That is what this step is about. Because you need to give yourself permission to do it scared, to do it tired, to do it messy. Because waiting until you have the right feeling is usually just self-sabotage dressed up in a self-care costume. This is about spotting one voice, the one that tells you you're not ready. 9 times out of 10, it's not a fact. It's just a voice. And It's the reason I procrastinate more than anything else. Step 4, give up your addiction to control. Quitting something repeatedly can be a form of control. You quit the diet, but you'll start Monday. You quit smoking, but then you just have one puff. You leave the toxic relationship, but then you let them back in. Every time you're the one calling the shots. If that cycle sounds familiar, stop asking, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? Because nothing will change. Instead, ask yourself, what if there's nothing to fix here? Just to accept. Radical self-acceptance is the only thing that actually lowers the shame that is fueling your self-sabotage loop. You cannot break this loop by stacking another reason to dislike yourself on top of it.
What's wrong with me?
Most of the examples I've given you are things that I relate to heavily. It's like when you stay up too late and then the next morning you feel obviously really tired and you spend the whole day just punishing yourself for it. And that is just more fuel for the exact loop that you're actually trying to break. So those are the 4 things to finally break that self-sabotage loop. This loop is proof that you are a person with a fully functioning nervous system that is usually trying to protect you from something, usually visibility, failure, or sometimes the expansion from success. It doesn't have to be a burden. We broke this loop down earlier so that you can finally stop treating your self-sabotage like a personality flaw. It is neuroscience. So when that inner friction hits, you know exactly what your body is trying to do. And that knowledge gives you the power and the freedom to catch it before it does its damage. Just to recap, 1, name the trigger. 2, notice your escape. 3, let the relief be real. 4, refuse to let shame fuel the next round of self-sabotage. Then, to actually break free from the self-sabotage loop, you need to make 4 shifts. 1, clear the physical friction from your environment. 2, name the hidden fear keeping you prisoner. 3, take action even when you don't feel ready. 4, trade your addiction to control and criticism for radical self-acceptance. You can't make those 4 shifts without a genuine desire to break the loop. But if you're still watching this right now, I have full faith in you. To go deeper on the shame piece and why most of us learned early that social acceptance came with conditions, watch my video on why smart people get manipulated. If you are ready to stop fighting your present reality and start designing your life, subscribe and watch this space. We have so much more real work to do together. Before you go, drop a comment below. What is the one thing you find yourself avoiding right now? Let's figure out what is actually getting in your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.